What if your car's odometer crossed the 1 million mark and everything still felt eager and youthful? Is that just fantasy, or just smart maintenance choices? Longevity is not magic. It is a culture of care that goes by the clock. The blueprint borrows from Japan's inspection rhythm and shop discipline, where small checks, exact specifications, and quiet habits add years without drama. Start with time-based service before symptoms, follow with fluids that meet the standard on the label, torque fasteners correctly, and drive in a way that respects heat, pressure, and corrosion. A car thrives when temperatures stay stable, when oil and coolant chemistry stay healthy, and when rubber and seals are refreshed before they harden. Million-mile stories grow from the same seed, a simple routine repeated without excuses. The plan is practical and it fits any make. Write a schedule, log every service, listen for changes, and correct them while they are still small. 10 focused habits cover the parts that actually decide lifespan: the engine, the gearbox, the brakes, the cooling system, the electrical system, the tires and suspension, the breathing, and the body. None of this requires exotic tools or expensive magic. It requires a calendar, a torque wrench, correct fluids and filters, and the discipline to show up on time. Adopt the rhythm, and the car pays you back with calm starts, smooth shifts, cool temperatures, and clean inspections year after year. That is how ordinary drivers earn extraordinary photos of an odometer that starts a new count at 7 digits. Secret 1. Live by a 6-month service clock. Rubber dries, additives deplete, and moisture sneaks in even when miles are light, so the calendar is your anchor. Every 6 months or 5,000 miles, walk the car end to end with a patient eye. Rotate tires, measure tread at inner, center, and outer edges, set pressures for season and load, and torque lugs to spec with a calibrated wrench. Inspect belts, hoses, clamps, and quick connects. Look for seepage or crust at joints, and top up only with the exact fluid already in the system. Pull the dipstick cold and hot to learn baseline oil consumption, grease what is greasable, and examine boots on ball joints and tie rods for cracks. Clean battery terminals and main grounds, check exterior lights, wipers, and cabin filter, then vacuum cowl drain so leaves do not flood electronics. Open the maintenance manual and tick the items you touched, then write the date, mileage, and notes in a log that lives in the glove box. Add one more quick scan with a handheld reader. Stored and pending codes reveal small issues before they turn into dashboard lights. Finish by looking under the car for drips and loose shields. Check brake fluid clarity at the reservoir, confirm no swelling on flex hoses, and make sure exhaust hangers and heat shields sit tight so vibration does not fatigue joints. That single-page routine builds momentum, prevents procrastination, and reveals patterns early. Reliability is a schedule, not a surprise, and the schedule starts here. Secret 2. Choose engine oil by specification, viscosity, and time, not by marketing. Use the grade on the cap that meets the current industry standard, then shorten the interval for severe use such as heat, hills, towing, dusty roads, or frequent short trips. Oil is a chemical package that carries detergents, dispersants, anti-wear additives, and friction modifiers. It is designed for a window of temperature and load. Change the filter with every service and pick one with the correct bypass setting and a reliable anti-drainback valve so pressure arrives quickly at startup. Warm gently before high load and keep idle time short so fuel does not dilute the sump. Record the brand, grade, and mileage each time so you can see trends in consumption or noise. If the engine uses a timing chain, clean oil on time protects the chain, guides, and tensioner from varnish and stretch. Keep caps, funnels, and hands clean so grit never enters, and confirm the old filter gasket is removed before the new one seats. After the fill, idle while you check for leaks, then take a calm drive to verify pressure, temperature, and sound. For mountain grades and summer heat, watch oil temperature if the car provides it and ease back before it climbs. Keep a small top-up bottle in the trunk so level never runs low between services. Small consistent care keeps bearings, rings, and catalysts healthy far beyond the usual horizon. Treat oil as cheap insurance that you buy on time, not a cost you delay. Secret 3. Protect the transmission with gentle drain and fills and the exact fluid. Heat and shear break down friction modifiers in automatics and CVTs long before symptoms appear. Follow a conservative interval, around 30 to 60,000 miles when you face hills, heavy traffic, heat, or towing. Use the factory specification, not a universal claim, because valve body logic and clutch materials depend on the right friction profile. If serviceable, clean the magnet, inspect the pan for debris, replace the gasket and torque fasteners evenly in stages. Avoid power flushing a high-mileage unit, Staged drain and fills refresh the fluid without shocking seals. Confirm level with the correct procedure at the specified fluid temperature. Some units require a scan tool and a measured overflow. Replace external filters or screens when fitted, and inspect cooler lines for chafe or seep. After service, verify shift quality on a calm road. Light throttle upshifts should be smooth and repeatable. Kickdown should be decisive without flare. Keep final drive or transfer case fluids on their own schedule if they are separate from the transmission. Transmission life is a temperature story, so pair fresh fluid with clean coolers, intact airflow dams, and driving that avoids unnecessary slip. On CVT-equipped cars, listen for belt whine or surging that changes with load. Early attention prevents expensive wear. When towing or descending long grades, use manual ranges where available to control heat and reduce hunting. Do that and the gearbox will return thousands of quiet, predictable shifts. Secret 4, keep the cooling system chemically correct and airtight. Coolant chemistry matters more than color. Inhibitors passivate aluminum, protect solder, and keep seals comfortable. Use the exact approved formula and top up with the same so you do not scramble the additive package. Test freeze point and pH yearly. Replace a weak cap since low pressure invites cavitation and boiling in hot spots. When service time arrives, drain thoroughly. Replace crush washers where required, and bleed air pockets with the correct procedure so the thermostat and heater core do not trap bubbles. Inspect hoses for swelling at beads and hardness at bends, and replace aged clamps that have lost tension. Straighten radiator fins with a comb so airflow stays even. Wash debris out of the condenser and radiator stack, and confirm undertrays and ducting are present so airflow goes where the engineers intended. Verify radiator fans cycle at the proper temperature and that both speeds work on two-stage systems. Replace a lazy thermostat that prolongs warm-up. Keep the overflow hose clear so expansion and return happen cleanly. Inspect the water pump weep hole for stains that indicate a seal beginning to fail, and renew the cap when the rubber hardens or the spring sags. On turbo engines, check the coolant lines and crush washers at the center housing for dryness after service. A cooling system that holds pressure, flows freely, and stays chemically correct prevents heat soak wear, protects head gaskets, and stabilizes every other fluid in the car. Secret 5. Stop idling an engine into slow death. Warm under light load instead. Excess idling creates fuel dilution, carbon, and condensation in oil. Start, let the idle settle, verify no warnings, then drive gently so the engine, transmission, and differential warm together. Keep revs modest until coolant and oil reach temperature. If stopped for long periods, switch off rather than bake the intake and underhood harnesses. Batch errands instead of many short trips that never dry the exhaust and crankcase. In deep cold, use a block heater to reduce startup wear. Give the car a steady highway stretch each week so the catalyst and exhaust see proper heat and moisture bakes away. Avoid lugging at low RPM, avoid sudden heat spikes, and let a turbo cool with easy driving before shutdown on the last mile. Plan routes that combine errands so the system reaches full temperature and stays there. When defogging demands idle time, use the rear defogger and air conditioning so windows clear quickly, then drive away, rather than sit. Keep snow and leaf mats out of the grill so shutters and fans can regulate temperature. On steep grades, downshift early so the engine shares the work with the brakes and coolant temperatures. Stay comfortable. Warm with motion, cool with patience, and let the car spend more minutes at its design temperature than outside it. That simple arithmetic adds years to every moving part. Secret 6. Treat the 12-volt battery as mission critical. Control units, pumps, relays, and sensors depend on stable voltage. A weak battery creates ghost faults and hard starts that punish starters and alternators. At each 6-month service, test resting voltage and conductance, then clean and tighten terminals. Remove and polish the main body and engine grounds until they are bare and bright, then protect them so they stay that way. Use a smart maintainer if the car sits or does short trips, and give it a long drive after any deep discharge so the alternator is not overloaded in traffic. Replace aging batteries before winter, not after the first cold snap. Inspect alternator belt condition and tension, and listen for bearing noise. Record the date, type, and rating in your log so you can budget the next replacement rather than be surprised. Test starter draw and charging voltage when you replace the battery so you have a baseline. Inspect battery trays for corrosion and neutralize any acid residue so new parts do not start life in a hostile home. If the car sits for weeks, disconnect parasitic loads where practical or use storage mode if the vehicle offers it. For hybrids and EVs, remember the 12-volt battery still wakes the high-voltage system, so treat it with the same respect. Keep a compact jump pack in the trunk as a safety measure and check its charge at the start of each season. Electrical calm prevents nuisance faults, protects modules from brownouts, and keeps the rest of the car honest. Secret 7. Wash the underbody and control salt all winter. Corrosion starts in seams, brackets, and brake lines long before a bubble appears in paint. After storms and brine, rinse the belly, wheel wells, and subframes. Aim at the backside of pinch welds, fuel tank straps, rear subframe pockets, and lower spring perches where slurry collects. Clear drain holes in doors and rocker panels so trapped moisture can escape, then take a short drive to sling water out of seams. If you apply protection, clean to bare, dry metal first, then use cavity wax inside boxed sections, and a durable coating on exposed steel. Never plug drains. Inspect brake and fuel lines at mounts, and look at seam sealer along wheel tubs and trunk floors for cracks that trap water. Rinse beach sand quickly after coastal trips. Salt is not the only corrosive that shortens life. Finish by confirming that rubber plugs are present in floor drains and that splash shields are intact. Missing pieces invite water and noise. During wheel swaps, pull calipers to clean and lube slide pins with the correct grease. Then check parking brake cables for smooth movement so shoes do not seize in winter. Make it part of the same 6-month rhythm so it never gets skipped. Underbody care is invisible on sunny days, yet it is the difference between a car that ages with grace and a car that retires early. Secret 8. Rotate tires with every 6-month service and keep alignment honest. Uneven wear adds rolling resistance, heat, and noise, and it hides suspension issues until they become expensive. Rotate front to rear on the same side for directional tires, follow the recommended cross pattern when allowed, and re-torque lugs after a short drive. Measure tread at inner, center, and outer edges to spot toe or camber problems, then correct alignment rather than sacrificing rubber. Set pressures cold, adjust for temperature swings and load, and use a reliable gauge. Inspect shocks and bushings that hold alignment, watch for cupping that signals poor damping, and check wheel bearings for roughness. Verify alignment after suspension work, wheel impacts, or any uneven wear you can feel with a hand sweep across the tread. A small toe error scrubs rubber into heat and noise, and it steals fuel economy. Inspect control arm bushings, strut mounts, and sway links. The parts that hold alignment matter as much as the angles themselves. Balance wheels when rotations reveal a shake, and index the wheel to the hub so reinstallation is consistent. Set pressures with a quality gauge at the same temperature each time and recheck after large shifts in weather. Tires that run straight and cool keep hubs, bearings, and brakes relaxed, which keeps the rest of the car relaxed. The payoff is quieter cruising, confident turn-in, and a contact patch that stays healthy for the long road to big miles. Secret 9. Keep the breathing clean and fuel trim steady. Replace the engine air filter on schedule and confirm the airbox lid and snorkel seal properly so dust does not bypass into the mass airflow sensor or turbo compressor. Clean the sensor with the correct electronic safe cleaner whenever you renew the filter, let it dry completely, and never touch the element. Inspect the PCV valve and hoses for blockage or collapse that can push oil where it does not belong. Verify that intake couplers and clamps are tight so unmetered air does not slip in and confuse the ECU. Clean the throttle body while the intake is open and use a fresh gasket on reassembly. Check small vacuum lines and evap hoses for soft spots and cracks, because tiny leaks shift long-term trims and spoil idle quality. If serviceable, replace the fuel filter on schedule and buy fuel from busy stations so quality stays consistent. Replace the cabin filter so the HVAC fan and blend doors live an easy life and sensors see clean air. While you are there, inspect wiring to the mass airflow sensor and oxygen sensors for rub points and secure the harness so vibration does not break conductors. Keep the intake resonance box and sound tubes installed. They are part of the metered system and they calm airflow for accurate readings. Measured air equals predictable fuel, which equals smooth combustion, clean catalysts, and a long-lived turbo if equipped. Secret 10. Pair exact parts with calm driving and meticulous records. Match every fluid to the standard the car was built around, choose original grade filters, replace spark plugs on the published interval with the correct iridium design, and torque fasteners to spec on a cold engine with clean threads. Never mix coolant chemistries, never guess at ATF, CVT, or gear oil, and never improvise with universal claims. Replace crush washers, gaskets, and O-rings during service so tiny leaks do not start. Drive with sympathy, look far ahead, keep space, and brake in a straight line so pads and tires work in their comfort zone. Give the car a weekly highway run to burn off moisture and carbon and to keep the battery topped. Keep a notebook that mirrors a 6-month rhythm, staple receipts to each entry, and note any new sounds, smells, or behaviors. When parts wear, replace them before they fail. Belts, tensioners, idlers, and hoses age by time as much as by miles. Calibrate your torque wrench yearly, index wheel nuts so you can confirm nothing moves, and mark filters and drain plugs so you can glance for leaks. Adopt an inspection culture, make the calendar your coach, and treat every service as a chance to reset the car to its best baseline. That mindset is the quiet secret behind very large mileages. Thanks for watching, folks, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here.